Dinosaurs became extinct more than 65 million years ago, but despite this, we always hear that scientists have a wealth of information about the nature of dinosaurs, including their sounds. In fact, this audio problem needs a million lines to highlight, because it is strange and completely incomprehensible. Sound is not a physical thing that we can touch, such as fossils and large structures, but is just vibrations that travel through the air and disappear within a few minutes or minutes. How can we recreate sound tens of millions of years after it was last produced? How do scientists know what dinosaurs sounded like, even though they are extinct and no one on Earth has ever heard their voices before? Welcome to the Random Tales channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this type of video and support us with a like so we can continue publishing more. Are dinosaur sounds in movies real? The Jurassic Park film series, which began in 1993, is one of the most popular film series that introduced the idea of dinosaurs in an unusual way, and the sound of the dinosaurs was specifically the thing that took them a lot of work to create, namely the monster. Dinosaur, T-Rex. For example, so that they can present it with convincing observers, they combined the thunder of a real tiger with the roar of an elephant, and greatly enhanced the tone of the sound so that it sounded like the special tone that appeared in the series. They did exactly the same thing with the vast majority of dinosaurs of all kinds that appeared. Their voices were all a mixture of the sounds of different creatures. Not only movies, but even novels that show the existence of dinosaurs in the past, we notice that they also summarize dinosaur traces in a way that is similar to areas of power. But I keep thinking about whether dinosaurs in the past really had a voice like this or really close to this way of speaking or no. Excavation houses. The truth is that in order to solve this question, the best people we will get answers from are paleontologists. Dinosaur fossils and their fossilized skeletons, which remained preserved on Earth for millions of years, were the important thing through which we learned everything about them. We learned about the shape of dinosaurs, their lengths and their sizes, in addition to the nature of the meals they ate, and the places in which they lived. The problem has not stopped yet. We also understand very specific information, including, for example, their colors, the shape and function of the muscle groups in their bodies, the nature of their skin, the way they walk, and how fast they run. Like that. Most surprising of all, we recognize some behaviors. They're dinosaurs, for example. Most dinosaurs live together in herds or groups, just like deer, cattle, and other wild animals of our current generation, all of which we know better from fossils. Okay, since scientists discovered all these records through fossils, are fossils the same item that taught them the pitch of a dinosaur's voice? In fact, the answer is yes or no at the same time. Unfortunately, the organs that produce sound in all living organisms are soft tissues, or gentle, such as the nasal cavity, larynx, vocal cords, trachea, etc. So, what's the problem with that? The problem, of course, is that soft tissues like this, when the structure becomes ossified or ossified, begin to rapidly dissolve and disappear and do not maintain their shape, which is unlike bones, for example, which choose to preserve themselves. So scientists had a situation in front of a dam and relates to the state of knowledge of dinosaur sound. Because the basic vocal organs do not exist, they needed to use relaxation of the frame elements, which would form an idea of the nature of the dinosaur's voice, or even the acoustic space. Where their voice has become restricted, yes, what exactly did they do? What they did was take an honest look at the rib cage dimensions in dinosaur skeletons and fossils. This is because the rib cage gives us an impression of the size of the lung that is inside it. And the lung is, of course, the main engine within sound production technology, because it is far from the organ that pumps air out, and then they also see the size of the throat and mouth, and the breathing holes inside the nostril, and after they evaluate the measurements of these things in every way, they can bet on how the dimensions of the larynx will appear, in addition to the nature of the tissues in it, and thus they can, and finally, bet on laryngeal tone, or the pitch of a dinosaur's voice. But the trajectory is not always accurate, and that's why they rely on various additional factors, in order to further contribute to supporting those hypotheses, and one of the elements they rely on is the idea of measurement. Measurement. Relationship is a component by which we can induce the qualities of certain creatures simply from different creatures, yet relying on the prerequisite that they have a place with similar animal groups. What's the significance here? At the end of the day, in the event that we knew that the lion and the feline both had a place with one animal varieties, which is cats. However, for instance, we have never seen a lion. Very much like that, we saw the felines and concentrated on their actual life structures. For this situation, we can undoubtedly know a great deal about the appearance and nature of the lion without seeing it. Regardless of whether we have, for instance, a skeleton or a fossil of the lion, for this situation, the data we will be aware through measurement will be more precise. What we are referring to is precisely the very thing occurred with dinosaurs. At the point when scholars investigated the nearest animals on the planet, to some degree comparative in actual design to dinosaurs, they observed that reptiles are the ones that meet these circumstances appropriately. To that end, dinosaurs are delegated reptiles, and they are likewise called enormous reptiles. On the off chance that anybody has at any point seen a reptile, Komodo mythical beast, tracked down in Indonesia, or even freshwater crocodiles, he truly feels that they are so like dinosaurs, and crocodiles specifically are basically the same as them with regards to bone design. This was the part from which researchers began the subject of estimation, and they reasoned that dinosaurs didn't emanate areas of strength for a sound or anything like we find in the films. And what is undoubtedly is that they were giving a murmuring sound or an extremely calm, low-recurrence murmuring sound, which is like the sound that crocodiles and a few kinds of reptiles make. It is likewise astounding that, at the earliest stage, dinosaurs didn't blow their horns while sounding. This is on the grounds that by far most of reptiles can utter sounds while blowing their horn. Their air leaves the lung through the pharynx and streams outward through the spaces between the teeth, regularly, without opening their horn. All in all, the scenes we find in motion pictures in which we find dinosaurs blowing their horns are unbending. It makes an extremely boisterous thunder or wail. This scene is brimming with logical deceptions, and convincing examinations likewise say that dinosaurs didn't make this murmuring sound. They did this constantly, yet in specific cases they involved sounds in them, like marriage for instance, or circumstances in which they are presented to risk. Parasaurolophus. Did all dinosaurs have a voice like a crocodile? In fact, no, the Parasaurolophus dinosaur is one of the plant-based dinosaurs that existed at the end of the Cretaceous period. Fossilized fossils of this dinosaur were discovered in the state of New Mexico in the southwestern United States. And what was striking about the Parasaurolophus was the shape of its head. The dinosaur's head was very distinctive and contained a long bone, curved backwards. When they examined its skull, they discovered that it had a cavity or a tube that extends from the nostril and passes through the bone above the head, then wraps around it and returns to the throat. They concluded that the function of this strange cavity was to enhance the dinosaur's sense of smell, in order to reach its food easily, especially since it was a plant eater, and that it also helped it dive efficiently under the water. But what concerns us most now regarding the issue of this cavity is that in 1995 AD, the New Mexico Museum of Natural History and Science placed the skull of the Parasaurolophus on a CT scanner, made a three-dimensional model of it, and added the nose, oral cavity, trachea and vocal cords according to certain calculations and measurements. This is to simulate the sound of this dinosaur and find out how it worked, especially with the cavity in the head. The surprise was that the sound of the Parasaurolophus was exactly like the sound of the curved trumpet that we blow. Something like the sound, click here. What scientists have also guessed is that it is possible for the different types of Parasaurolophus to have a specific tone or symphony of its own that is different from the other types. But it is also, as we explained, in the area of quiet, low-frequency tones. In the end, if you are still surprised that the sound of dinosaurs was not a strong and ferocious roar like the one in your imagination, then let me shock you even more and tell you that it is possible that dinosaurs did not speak at all and did not make any sounds at all. This opinion is also presented in the scientific community, and there are many scientists and researchers who adopt it. This is because, as we explained, all the previous things were just hypotheses based on measurement, and there is no strong evidence that can confirm to us 100% how their voice was working. And therefore, by the same principle of measurement, we can deduce that dinosaurs did not make sounds like the vast majority of reptiles, and that they did not communicate auditory or through sound, but they communicated visually, and there is a lot of evidence that supports this topic, most notably the physical structure of dinosaurs. The skin of dinosaurs was distinguished by containing many very eye-catching colors, as well as horns, eyelashes, and the scales on the back. All of these are things that indicate that the behavior of dinosaurs may have depended more on the use of body language in communication, meaning something like the way chameleons or lizards communicate with each other. But even now the issue is still debatable until we find concrete evidence that confirms the claims of one party or denies the claims of the other party. This means that we can, for example, discover a complete dinosaur preserved in ice without need, and present with all its organs, and thus resolve the issue of sound. Or, on the contrary, we may discover certain evidence proving to us, for example, that everything that scientists have been talking about during the past years regarding dinosaurs is wrong information and has no basis, and we should wait until we see what the latest scientific research will come up with. We will have finished the video, and if you have reached the end with us, we would like to thank you, and I hope you tell us what you think and would you like to talk about in the coming period. We will be waiting for your comments. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button so that you will receive notification of our videos, and do not forget to support us with a like for the video if you like it. I will see you in the next video. Bye.